Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, how's it going?
It's going good, Steven. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How have your holidays been so far?
So far, so good. Was in Atlanta for a couple days for Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Saw some family. I figured you were
oh,
busy.
okay.
But I saw you were up. I saw you were in my area last weekend, and you stopped by and said hi. So thanks for that.
I was in
But
Richmond, Virginia. I was not in DC.
that's a couple hours away at most.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, it's been good.
that's good. That's good. All right. Well, I'll let you all take it away with movie reviews.
Sure thing. So, I saw a few things, so I'll keep things moving pretty quickly here. But the first thing I saw actually during the break was Last Night in Soho. And this is an Edgar Wright film following the story of this girl who, when she falls asleep, she sees visions of this girl in Soho in the 60s and kind of lives her life and lives the horrors that she lives. And as time goes on, a lot of this dreams and visions bleed into reality. So it's a really good movie, well done, and it has more horror element than I expected to it, and it was released at Halloween, so that kind of makes sense. But kind of a fun movie to watch. It is out on streaming for rental at the moment. Um, the other film I saw was The Power of the Dog, and this is a movie starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Kristen Dunst, a new Netflix release, and this is kind of we're in Oscar kind of, I don't want to say Oscar bait season, but there's a lot of these Oscar bait movies coming out, and The Power of the Dog stars Benedict Cumberbatch as a rancher in Montana in 1925, and him and his brother own a ranch. And he's a real. This is like Benedict Cumberbatch, like you haven't seen him. He's really cruel. He's mean to his brother. His brother eventually marries this woman from a town that has a kid, and then he starts being mean to this woman and kind of psychologically torturing her, and still his brother. Well, eventually the son comes to visit for the summer from school, and it kind of kicks off a whole series of events of Benedict Cumberbatch's character and the son, which leads to a lot of interesting things. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to give too much away, but definitely great performances by everyone actually in it, and it's nice to see kind of that huge sweeping landscape and a little bit more of that also psychological aspect of kind of people and the time period. So Power of the Dog, definitely recommended. It's on Netflix for streaming, so no additional costs there. The only other things I saw were Dope Sick, which I know, Chike, you were talking about previously. I finally finished that up, and that's about the opioid crisis with Purdue
Hmm.
Pharma and the Sackler family. Wonderful job. Michael Keaton did a great job. Good story. It's one of those you watch and you just can't believe this is what happened, and they got away with it. But
Yep.
it's the reality we're in, and it's a crisis we're still trying to fix to this day. So definitely highly recommended. It's on Hulu. All the episodes are out. Great show.
Yep.
And then finally, I started watching, and I'm mostly through the Cowboy Bebop live action reboot. And I don't know, Chike, I assume you were a fan of Bebop. It's a show from the 90s, anime about space cowboys. And
Hmm.
this is a live action version. And I will say this: if you've never seen the original, you will probably watch this and enjoy it and think it's fine. If you've seen the original, don't go in with high expectations. It's inconsistent at best, and by that I mean sometimes the acting's a little off, sometimes the dialogue's a little off. And Cowboy Bebop wasn't known for like having the best dialogue, but there's just a little bit of weaknesses there. Sometimes you're watching like a great production, and then sometimes you feel like you're watching a student film. Uh,
Mm.
and again, it's Netflix and the budget. They probably kind of picked what they needed to do with it, but yeah, there's just some unevenness with it. Honestly, besides I think Spike and Jet, the main two characters, most of the other characters are slightly miscast or like totally miscast. So again, go
Wow.
into it with low expectations. I'm still watching it; it's still keeping my attention. But if you're like a super fan of the original, this one will be hard to watch.
So I'm going to take that entry because you actually spoke on something that I wanted to talk about tonight. take that segue into the recycling of TV shows.
Hmm.
And it's been like a barrage of that happening as of late. So we have Sex in the City is coming
Hmm.
back. Dexter is coming back. Um, why do you think that is? What's going on?
I think it's easy. What they think is easy money. Recycle
Mhm.
old stories. They're going to get the old fan base back, in addition to the new fan base that'll discover it for the first time or read about it and say, "Oh, I remember that show. I'm going to watch the old series now too because I want to watch the new series." So, yeah, it's the ghost that we also saw that with this new Ghostbusters movie, which I didn't see. But again, we're just it's just that constant rehashing of things. And I can only imagine it's because it's easy and they can make money off of it quickly.
Yeah, but you can also mess up a classic. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
exactly,
see how things
exactly.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can still tarnish the reputation of the
yeah.
whole IP, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
So I saw a few things. I mainly caught up on my television over, the time that we were off. Um, One film I will talk about is called The Rescue, and that's on National Geographic, and it's a documentary about the 2018 rescue of 12 Taiwanese boys that were on a soccer team, and they got trapped in a cave. And it was during monsoon season, and the cave became flooded. So they were trapped in the cave, and these divers, these amazing divers, and the Navy SEALs from three different countries, got together to save these boys. It was such a I don't want to say heartwarming. It did have its moments, but frankly, I was scared shitless for these children that were
Mhm.
trapped in the cave. And in the way that the documentary was done, it was so brilliantly done because it played out like a real drama movie. And it was like, are they going to get saved? Are they going to find one, not alive? Like,
Mhm.
how is this going to end up? And it turned out being what it was. I don't want to tell you what it was. I want you to watch it and have the experience I did. Um, Kudos to those divers, Rick Stanton, John Volenfin, and Richard Harris. And there was one of the rescuers who died, so they did
Mhm.
lose one life. Pardon, I cannot recall his name right now, but God rest his soul. At least he went out of here doing something noble and for other people.
Mhm.
Definitely check it out. It's worth watching. One of the best documentaries I've seen in a while. And so series. I'm on this new show called Yellow Jackets on Showtime. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's a little quirky. It's about a high school girls soccer team who's on a plane, and the plane goes down in the Canadian Alps somewhere, like in the forest. And fast forward to the future, these women are now grown, and then they're in their different perspective
Huh.
pockets of life, and they're trying to live. But there's a secret that happened during that time when they were stranded waiting to be rescued, and we're getting to the bottom of what that happened. It kind of reminds me of Lost-ish a little bit,
Okay.
but there's another component to it, and it's the fact that they've already been saved. They're already living their lives past this point, but some mess happened during the time that they were stranded, and they're going to get to the bottom of it.
That sounds very interesting.
It's starring Juliette Lewis, which I trust everything that she's in because she doesn't pick bad projects. Christina Ricci, she also doesn't pick bad projects, and Melanie Linsky, who I just adore everything that she's in. So from the rip, it was a good
Yeah,
investment for
good
me.
cast.
Yeah. And so there's a new show on Amazon Prime called Harlem, starring Megan Good and Tyler Lepley. And it's kind of sort of like the Girlfriends or um, Sex in the City type of show.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just getting into it. Actually, just started watching it today. So far, it's okay. Um, but and I don't mean to be rude in saying this, but for my Black people who want to see other Black people on television, this might be a show for you to absorb. Um, we don't get too many shows that are our own. Insecure is leaving us.
Mhm.
So we get kind of attached to shows where we can see our own face. It's a black thing. And I'm looking forward to Sex in the City. I am looking forward to it. I know they were getting some heat about the show being about a bunch of old women now running around the streets of New York City. Um, it's making headlines, it's making waves for the discrimination, but we'll see. I'm curious to see what they're going to do minus Samantha. I'm curious to see what this inclusion that they keep talking about looks like. I'm just curious. I was a fan of the show, so we'll see.
Nice.
Oh, and the morning show ended. I know you watched that, Steven. The finale happened, and wow,
yeah,
what a good show. That's a
great
good show. Yeah.
Well, I have to shout out just two things on Netflix. Bruised, starring Halle Berry, directed by Halle Berry. She said it would be the last time she thinks she would direct and be a starring role at the same time because it was just so much work. It was worth whatever sweat and tears. And I heard she even hurt herself while shooting it. She had trained for 3 years for the role. That was such a great movie. And I wasn't even excited to watch it. And then when I turned on, so I was over 2 hours, like it was good. It was really, really good. I even shed a tear at the end of the night, to be honest with you. But the joke is she is not a good mother in any of her movies. But watch Bruise is really good. And then The Truth or Truth something. With Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Was it good?
Very good. Very, very good. I want to get the name of it right. It's something Truth. I'm sorry.
True story.
True story. Very, very. It's a series, a limited series. His brother's played by Wesley Snipes, who is great in it, and it's just really, really good. Like I watched the first episode. Someone texted me, "True story is really good." I was like, okay, and so and then I just happened to watch the first episode, and it was good. But the more you watch it, you just it was so good. It was probably Kevin's best work, really. And so so many layers to it. It's really, really good. So both of those, I want to shout those out. I want to talk about what's the show with 911 with Angela Bassett. You know, the person who plays her ex-husband on there, he quit the show because of the COVID-19 protocol.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get it. But anyway, it's still a good show. But he have a huge role in there. He did. And
did he not want to get vaccinated? Like, what is the issue?
He didn't want to get vaccinated. He said he's never discussed his health publicly, and he won't do it now.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
It's a choice. It is a choice, and he made it. So anyway, that's all I want to talk about. Anything coming out of the pipeline? Oh, Christmas movie time is my favorite part of the year. I've already watched my first one. It was okay. I mean, you kind of know what's gonna happen, but
they're all predictable. Yeah.
But I saw today on some show I was watching how they have it's two of the women from Saturday Night Live. They have a parody Christmas movie coming out. Well, I think it aired this weekend, but it'll be running throughout the season. And they have like the top 3 things that happen in Christmas movies. And they kind of make a parody of, busy businessman or woman goes to a small town.
Yeah.
And they end up leaving with the Christmas spirit and love. So they have like a parody off of that. It just sounds funny when they were describing it because that is what happens. But anyway, that's all for me. Anything else?
Yeah. So speaking of Christmas movies, this one kind of is on my somewhat radar. I think it's a Hulu, but maybe it's a different series. But an 8-Bit Christmas. I don't know if you know this one. It's Neil Patrick Harris, and it's talking about him being a kid in 1980s Chicago, and it's there's like a contest to win a Nintendo. Wow. I don't know if anyone else remembers, but the Nintendo was like the prize back in the day. Yeah. And so it's just like kind of all the kids are going through to try to win this contest to win a Nintendo system at Christmas time. So that seems like a fun one.
Yeah.
Other than that, we have a few good things. I think the Tragedy of Macbeth, which is a William Shakespeare play, but it's directed by one of the Coen brothers, and it stars Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand as his wife, shot in black and white. It's probably another Oscar bait movie, but it looks like it'll be really good. And then the next Spider-Man in the MCU is coming out as well, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Isn't the Matrix coming out too?
Yeah, that I think
Yeah,
it's
the
Christmas
Matrix.
release. But yeah, so speaking of 90s
Yeah.
things that are coming back, Matrix Resurrections, I think is what it's called.
And also, I listen to other podcasts, and shout out to Jamel Hill, who is my friend in my head. I haven't met her yet, but hi, Jamel. I heard her interview with Holly Robinson Pete, and what I thought was so amazing is that with certain actors, you don't really know all the facets of their career, and certain actors have production deals with smaller companies. Like I don't say Hallmark small. Hallmark is pretty big, but
Right.
on the big scale of mass media, Hallmark is one of the smaller ones. But they do have a consistency kick out of pretty decent movies for their network. And Holly Robinson Pete produced a new Christmas movie where there is a gentleman on the autistic spectrum who is the lead. And I definitely want to check that out. I cannot remember the name because there was two different names that she gave, but Google it, Holly Robinson Pete, holiday movie 2021. Check it out. I definitely want to see that, and I want to support that.
And that's dear to her because she has an autistic son as well.
Yes.
And so the fact that the guy who plays the autistic, like you said, autistic son in the movie is autistic in real life. So that is good.
And to bring it full circle, she was referred that person from Boris Kodjoe and Nicole Ari Parker, who also have an autistic child. Yeah. So I love that. I love it.
Yeah. Well, shout out to everyone. Well, listen, thank you guys for letting us know what to spend our time on as well as our money. And we'll be right back after this.
Thanks.